Hey, what's up guys? Today, I am going to explain a 2022 action-adventure movie titled The Northman. Warning, spoilers ahead, and I hope you enjoy the recap. The movie opens up in the North Atlantic 895 AD. King Ervandil and his bastard brother Fjolnir return to their kingdom with chests full of riches after his overseas conquests. Ervandil reunites with his wife Gudrun and his son Amleth. Fjolnir reunites with his baby son Thor, yet his mood quickly gets sour when the court jester Heimer makes fun of him. After the banquet, Ervandil spends some time with Gudrun and shows her where he's been wounded. Gudrun worries, but Ervandil tells her he'll be fine for now because he doesn't plan to die like an invalid, he'll die with honor in combat. Later that night, Ervandil takes Amleth with him to the temple so the boy can go through a spiritual ceremony and officially become a man. The father and son channel their inner wolves, and Amleth is blessed with the knowledge of the tribe. The drink Heimer gives Amleth causes him to see a series of hallucinations, and when he touches his father's wound, Amleth witnesses the entire family tree. Later that morning, they leave the temple and are ambushed by a group of masked Viking warriors. But Ervandil tells him to run away, so he hides behind a rock to watches them. The leader of the group then takes his mask off and reveals to be Fjolnir, who proceeds to kill his brother to take his place as king. Afterwards, he sends his soldiers to find Amleth, who runs away deeper into the forest. He's suddenly found by Fjolnir, but Amleth manages to cut off his nose with a knife before escaping. A while later, Amleth makes it back to his village when Fjolnir is kidnapping a screaming Gudrun. Fjolnir lies to Fjolnir and tells that Amleth is dead. Amleth escapes and goes to the coast and steals a boat as he swears to one day avenge his father and save his mother. Few years later, adult Amleth lives as a berserker with a tribe of Vikings. He's left his life as a prince to become a fearsome warrior that helps his band raid villages, kill their soldiers, claim the women, and gather young people to be sold as slaves. After the successful raid, Amleth leaves the celebrations behind to take a walk and comes across a temple with a Seeress inside. This Seeress reminds Amleth of his revenge oath and predicts he'll be victorious, but for that to happen, he must go to the land of the north where Fjolnir currently lives. The next morning, Amleth comes up with a plan and sneaks aboard the ship that will take the slaves to Iceland. There, he meets Olga, who claims to be a sorceress. The ship is shaken by a storm on the way, but the party still manages to make it safely to Iceland. They're picked up at the shore by Fjolnir, who puts all the slaves in chains and guides them to Fjolnir's farm, where he lives with a now adult Thor and his second son, the young Gunnar. Unimpressed, Fjolnir wants to send the weak slaves away, so Amleth tries to show off his strength. Fjolnir decides to keep him, and he also chooses some maids for his wife, taking particular interest in Olga. The next day, Amleth plays along and works hard as a slave, which gives him the opportunity to enter Fjolnir's home and make a shocking discovery. Gudrun is there, alive and well. Afterward, Olga checks on him to see if he's gathered information, and when soldiers see her out of her station, they come to take her away. At that night, Amleth follows the vixen and finds a he-witch inside a cave. This man instantly recognizes Amleth and shows him he's kept Heimer's head since Fjolnir killed him. Through a special ritual, the he-witch summons Heimer's spirit and gets the head to talk directly into Amleth's mind to tell him about the mighty sword Draugr. One day, he'll have to choose between kindness for his kin or hate for his enemies. Amleth comes upon Draugr's location, where it rests with the corpse of a former king. As Amleth attempts to grab the sword, the corpse appears to come to life and fight Amleth in a duel, ending with Amleth swinging his axe upon the skeleton and beheading it before he can pull the sword from its bony hands. Amleth returns to the farm and hides the sword. He then watches as Fjolnir attempts to have his way with Olga, but she repels him by smearing her menstrual blood on him. The next day, Fjolnir takes his family and a selected group of slaves to meet with the chieftain and his people for a match of Natlikr. Amleth is chosen for Fjolnir's team and finds himself in a brutal sport where little by little each player dies. Towards the end, only Amleth and one very big opponent are left. Gunnar tries to steal the ball to score and is attacked by the opposite team's player. Amleth jumps in his defense and kills his opponent. The slaves later gather for a party in the woods where they get intimate with each other and where Amleth consummates his relationship with Olga. After they finish making love, they make vows to bring down Fjolnir. Over the next few nights, Amleth takes Draugr and slaughters some of Fjolnir's men, including Thor's friends. He hangs their corpses outside for Thor to find, where he yells in despair over the loss of his friends and vows to find the man responsible. Amleth later goes to Gudrun's room where he reveals himself to her. She is stunned to see him, but not out of relief for her son being alive. Although he tells her he is there to free her, Gudrun reveals that she is not Fjolnir's prisoner, but that she genuinely loved him and agreed to marry him. It was she who asked Fjolnir to kill her Vandil, as he had taken her as a slave and raped her, which is how Amleth was conceived. She had also asked Fjolnir to kill Amleth as well. Gudrun makes an attempt to seduce Amleth. But Amleth doesn't fall for it and leaves her behind to find Thor, who he kills on his bed. In the morning, Fjolnir is mad with grief when he finds Thor's body without a heart, and Gudrun tells him Amleth did it. Fjolnir decides to start killing slaves to make them confess, but when he is about to kill Olga, Amleth reveals himself to stop him. He shows that he has Thor's heart. Fjolnir sends his men after him, and Amleth meets them in combat to give Olga time to escape, then he allows them to capture him. Thor's heart back, but Amleth reveals it actually belongs to the dog. Furious, Fjolnir hangs Amleth in the barn and beats him up to make him reveal the location of Thor's heart, but Amleth refuses to tell. Fjolnir and his men leave for Thor's funeral, and on their way out, one of the men drops Amleth's sword on the ground. As soon as everyone's gone, a group of ravens show up and free Amleth. The people of the farm give Thor a proper funeral, and Gunnar is declared the only heir to the throne. Meanwhile, Amleth finds himself on a horse ridden by a Valkyrie that is taking him to Valhalla, but suddenly he wakes up and realizes it was Olga that saved him. After a day of horse riding, the couple finds a boat and is allowed aboard. Amleth notices Olga has a scar on her and decides to kiss it for comfort. This act gives him a vision of the family tree again. Amleth learns Olga is pregnant with twins, and one of them will be the Maiden King from the Seeress' prophecy. Amleth fears that his children will never be safe as long as Fjolnir lives. Remembering he was told he would have to choose between kindness for his kin or hate for his enemies, Amleth decides to choose both. Ignoring Olga's pleas, he gives her his prince necklace before jumping off the ship. While Amleth swims back to the shore, Olga calls the wind spirits to protect the ship's journey. When night falls, Amleth sneaks back into the farm and begins killing all the warriors, taking extra pleasure in slowly finishing Finnr. After freeing all the women, Amleth enters the main house and is attacked by Gudrun. However, she is not match for Amleth as he plunges sword through the heart. At that moment, Gunnar jumps on Amleth's back to stab him, but Amleth kills him as well. Fjolnir shows up next and asks Amleth to meet him at the gates of hell. Amleth watches the slaves burn down the farm before leaving for the volcano. On his way up to the crater, Amleth finds the bodies of Gudrun and Gunnar, so he gives them his blessing before finally meeting with Fjolnir. Both men are outstanding warriors, and the battle's pretty balanced at first, but Amleth is already hurt, thus it doesn't take long for Fjolnir to overpower him. However, Amleth finds strength in his anger to rise again and, after exchanging a few more blows, both men kill each other at the same time. As he passes out, Amleth has a vision of Olga with his twins before a Valkyrie appears to take his soul through the gates of Valhalla. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe for more videos.